Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, with some mixed reception as the CDL finally confirmed the plans for the Prime Classic and what the groups are going to be. Some further news coming out of the New York camp. Is it possible the Neptune and Crimsix are both out of a starting spot? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. Plenty to dive into today. This firstly from the Sublanders themselves. Huge announcement tomorrow, that of course being today. Wondering whether this, obviously, I don't imagine this is going to be roster stuff. It might be, in fairness, if they've come up with their ideas from these trials kind of quickly. They don't necessarily need to, right? Just because they have a little bit of time before this pro-am to actually get their roster solidified on what they want to do. So I wonder if it's some sort of other thing. In fairness, if we look at the kind of the emojis they've got here, I just looked at, we've got a kind of, okay, we're flying out to New York. So whether that's talking about the Major 4, which is coming up, which is New York's own major, I'm not really sure what it's going to be. I suppose we'll see on that front. One announcement that does come through though, so finally yesterday there's another community update with Daniel Science Spinner Spence talking about honestly, not really all that much was said, to be perfectly honest, but there was some updates on the Prime Classic LAN event. So it is going to be LAN. There were some concerns it was going to be an online event. Now, of course, given it's been so long to confirm this, my understanding is there was some sort of, they wanted one venue, they couldn't get it, therefore they had to switch venues, which means there's not going to be any fans at this event, which in fairness was probably expected, right? Because if there was going to be fans, they would have talked about it a while ago and actually got those tickets on sale. So it's unfortunate, no fans of the Prime. It's kind of, it's a shame really, just because the Prime Classic, I think, going into this year was a lot of people's, the event that people were most excited for, and they've done a great job in actually setting this up. I did not think this is ever going to happen, right? Having 12 pro teams, 4 best amateur teams in the world at the event, get them in the groups CWL style, but unfortunately they've not quite gone all the way to the CWL style, right? It's not a double elimination bracket. We'll see that here in just a second, and also no fans at the venue. Definitely some things that are disappointing. I think that on the whole, I'm really happy that this idea is actually coming to fruition, but just the way it's being executed leaves something to be desired. As Ben J and Asim says, the Esports Engine team is excited to help produce the Prime Classic at Belong Polaris, so Belong Arena's venue effectively in Columbus. So it's going to be a relatively small venue. I know there's been some pictures coming out. This one, as Chrome points out, the venue for the Prime Classic. So in fairness, right, like, you know, it's pretty close vicinity. This, I guess, is where the players are going to play. There's, I'm sure, going to be some pretty spicy trash talk that could especially go down, especially if you've got a guy like Scrappy on the other side of the stage, Tactical Scrappy on the Ultra Academy North America. We'll look at their group here in a second, because there's a decent chance they make something happen in that group. But, you know, yeah, potential trash talk is going to pop off. Unfortunately, no fans, and unfortunately, no double elimination bracket, which to me is kind of the kicker. This also was kind of funny. Paris Legion reply with, okay, yeah, the Prime is on LAN, fantastic stuff. No fans though, so you guys will be a level playing field for the TacticalRab Academy. So it was good enough to put in the video, no doubt about it. So these are the 4 teams, of course, the kind of Academy squads, the Challenger squads that made it to qualify. The European Ultra Academy, the North American Ultra Academy, then, well, apparently M7 Electrify is now under the Team War banner. So they've been picked up, and then Strike X's Cillian Fire's team, Fire 40's team, that qualified as well. These then are the groups for the event. I believe this aligns with what we kind of looked at, what got leaked a few days ago. But yeah, here they are. So Group A to me is probably the group of death, if anything, at least between the 3 teams that are in that group. Because Toronto, look, I think they've decided to stick. If their hardpoint gets somewhat better, then all of a sudden they are once again a threat, because their other game modes have been solid, at least, if they can start to win more game 5s. FaZe, of course, number 1, number 2 team in the game, whatever way you want to look at it. And Seattle Surge always put up a fight against FaZe. So that's exciting. The way this works is round robin groups. It's not kind of, well, it's traditional CWL style. It's not GSL style, where you play and win 2 before you lose 2 in the groups, and the top 2 get out, the bottom 2 don't. You play single round robin, the top 2 get out of the pool, the bottom 2 don't get out of the pool, which is really annoying to me, because back in the World Championship days, pre-CDL, that's how they used to do it. Like, they used to have 32 teams, down to 16 from the groups, and often there'd be some really annoying tiebreakers where 3 teams might go 1 in 2, one of them will get out on map counts, or for example, 3 teams will go 2 in 1, and one will go 0 in 3, and then one of the 2 in 1 teams has to fall out as well. So always a strange situation when this is the case. Ideally, right, given the fact you only have 16 teams, you could make it so that, okay, top 2 get out into the winners brackets, and then 3rd place starts in the losers bracket or something like that. But of course, they've decided that losers bracket and these concepts just don't apply to the CDL anymore. Well, they do in other tournaments, but for some reason in the Pro-Am, they've just got rid of it. So as you can see, top 2 from each group advance into single elimination bracket. So really frustrating, right? Because the Kickoff Classic, I want to count that as kind of a championship victory, right? We want to have more events we can actually count. Now, there's still going to be an asterisk by it, not necessarily because it was right at the start of the year, but mainly just because it was single elim. Like, that I think does put an asterisk behind these events to a degree. Like, I still think Toronto, it's kind of a championship victory to a degree, not as influential, as impactful, and as serious as the major events, but like, I wanted this one to kind of go down as, like, okay, it's another championship victory. Like, if Optic win this, if FaZe win this, they're going to celebrate this like a championship victory, because it is all the 12 pro teams here with 4 more teams an addition. It should count. But the fact that it's a single Elim bracket, I'm sure they're thinking about scheduling, right, and how many matches they have to play, and the fact that if they wanted to do this double Elim, they might have to do the groups on Wednesday, Thursday, and then do the bracket play on, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. Like, it would obviously be more matches to be played, but, still, if you want to make a proper tournament that people care about to a degree, or to the greatest possible degree, then that's probably what you have to do. So hopefully we can get rid of single elimination from COD going forwards from this moment. We've got to finish talking about the rest of the group. So Group B is Texas, Florida, and Rokkr. So I think in general, probably a relatively easier group for Optic, even though Florida did, of course, cause them a lot of problems at the last major, right? It's interesting to see the rematch going on there. Ultra Academy Europe in that group as well. That's a Stevo, Vortex's team and the guys. Group C to me is the most exciting. Group A might be the group of death or whatever, but Group C to me is the one I'm looking forward to the most. Ravens always have interesting games with Thieves and Subliners. All of those three teams have something significant to prove. Ravens have to prove they're actually alright and their practice has got much better behind the scenes, that they can actually still beat teams that they should be beating. Thieves, of course, with the role change, very exciting stuff there. Subliners, we don't even know what roster they're going to bring to this event. And there's no points on the board at this event. There is, of course, some prize money and stuff like that, but they're going to have to prove something. And Team War, the M7 Electrify squad, the best, European challengers team, arguably the best from the region. Of course, Ultra Academy North America won it in the end, but I still think that squad can put up a massive fight. So Group C is the one I'm keeping my eyes on, and then Group D, Boston Breach, Los Angeles Guerrillas, and then the Paris Legion. To me, I really like this group just because Ultra Academy North America are going in there, the number one seeds. Them versus the Paris Legion is going to be a great affair, whether they can get 2 victories, because the frustrating thing really here is that all of these Academy teams, or Challenger teams, they get to play 3 series against pro teams, but it's rather unlikely that any of them will get out of their group. The only team that has a decent chance, maybe is Ultra Academy North America again in that Group D, but even then it's kind of tough to say. Because there has been some frustrations about this, right? Because as Alex Rubin says from the Guard or from Los Angeles Guerrillas, that, why do we remove a major for this, right? We could have had another whole major cycle, and major 3 now, and then go major 4, major 5, kind of how it was last year, but instead, they got this Warzone event coming in that I don't really think anyone cares about, and then there's a no-fan 8-team single in Prom at a LAN center is a disappointing miss from the CDL. Hoping for a more thoughtful format built around competitive for next season. I don't mind what they've done, it's just the way they've executed it is leaves something to be desired, let's just say. Intrigued to your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below. Let's dive into these trials then. So still, New York have been considering options the last few days. That's why I wonder whether they're just going to announce their roster today, because that seems a little bit premature based on what might be going on behind the scenes. So a couple of days ago, Crim confirmed that himself and Hydra not scrimming in their trials. Of course, the Hydra was a big surprise to a lot of people, right? Because, okay, why would you scrim without your starting or your star player that surely you're going to want to keep? But, Crim being gone was, to me, probably a mistake, but still, maybe they wanted to give it a go to see what the comms were like without Crimsix, with how impactful actually was he in the team? Was he causing any negative energy and negative vibes? Might be something you want to try out. Whether that's a good idea or not, we'll talk about that later today. But of course, what might be happening in this team is another question mark. This was on the 18th of April. He said not playing in the Subliners trial scrims again today. And then yesterday, he finally says it's my turn. He uses a TED gif, which, we always appreciate. But he says finally my turn in trials. And I believe he's kind of said on stream that there was maybe, 5 days that he was thinking the first 2 days he wasn't in. He's meant to be in for the next few days. But he says finally my turn in trials. He then tweets Clayster tweets this out, a Jurgen Klopp gif. I'm pretty sure he tweeted this out at almost the exact moment that Liverpool went up 2-0 over Manchester United last night. So I imagine that this is about that. But you do wonder whether there's a double meaning here, right? Clay simultaneously enjoying the Premier League game, even though the match itself was just absolutely shocking. But, maybe he's also kind of saying, get in there, lads, I've actually got a spot on a trial team. I suppose that will remain to be seen. But as he describes right here, obviously playing some Valorant lately, had a lot more free time lately when I'm not trialing out for teams, lol. So this got interesting, right? He says teams with an S. And of course, there's only 2 teams right now that are doing trials, at least to our knowledge, Minnesota Rokkr and the New York Subliners. So you'd imagine this implies he's going to try it out for both of those teams. The Minnesota one is quite interesting to me just because MajorManiak attached, could it be Clay and attached, run it back on the main ER flex type positions? That's an interesting possibility. Or is he, going back into the New York squad? They've tried him out for a couple of days. Now Crim's come back, and now, of course, the argument is now afresh, right? Because we kind of saw that Crimsix won the internal, tug of war, I guess, for power of the New York Subliners roster when Clay got benched from the team. Now, Clay might have come back and scrimmed with them for a few days. Now Crim's coming back in, and now the team itself is going to have to make a call whether, Clay kind of gets a second chance at redemption in that sense. So we shall see. And Crim actually goes on to tweet this. This might be completely unrelated. I feel like Crim's kind of speaking facts in a way, but if there's one thing I learned in this world, it's that there's only a handful of people you ever meet that actually truly care about you. So thought it was interesting. This might be completely unrelated, of course, to the whole discussion around him stepping in for the trials. He might have just scrimmed and had a good time. But, just the fact that he tweeted this on the same night, that maybe the trials didn't go to plan, and they've told him, actually, hang on, Crimsix, we want to put put you back to the bench again, effectively, for these trials, bring Clay back in for the next couple of days, he might not be too happy. We'll see what they decide to do, but I'm sure Clay is vying for that spot as much as he possibly can. Crimsix got to defend his place on the team, really, so creates a very interesting dynamic internally over there, and I'm not sure it's going to be a positive one. And well, speaking of positive, Neptune says this: focus on the positive. So this might mean that Neptune's gone, because of course we've seen the rumours the last few days, what New York are trying to do with Crim being on the bench for a while. Hydra, we imagine, is going to be back in there, but they were trialing Kismet in the team, to our understanding, and you do think, okay, maybe the plan initially was Kismet Neptune, now Hydra's come back in, now maybe they're trying out Hydra Kismet, and they maybe feel like Kismet's being more impactful than Neptune is. So who knows? I think that was kind of the big discussion after Major 2, was like, yes, New York looked better in the qualifiers, especially when Paulex came into the roster, but of course at the Major they came top 12, and whenever you come top 12, you do kind of have to wonder, okay, does this team need a change? Because yes, they looked better, but maybe it's not quite good enough, because if you're coming last place, and especially when you're so, well, shocking as they are right now with the rankings, pretty sure they're 11th in the rankings right now with only 40 points, so they're quite a way away from even getting to champs qualification, which obviously is a big deal. So some were suggesting swap out Neptune, try and bring in another SMG. That might be what they decide to do, Neptune implying that could be the case, but to me the whole Crimsix Clayster type discussion going on is really interesting behind the scenes, because we do imagine Hydra's going to stay, but if they're trying all these other things out, then maybe they come up with an idea over the coming days as to what they want to do with their roster. But that's the thing, there's not all that long ready to think about it, because the Prime Classic begins on May the 5th. I love this graphic here for the CDL, because Silly and Fire, two members of course of the StrikeX team, that are going to give it a go against FaZe. Silly actually took down FaZe, right, I guess it was online at the time, at Los Angeles Guerrillas, when they broke FaZe's win streak of 11 series in a row. I'm pretty sure at the start of Black Ops Cold War, it was Silly and the Los Angeles Guerrillas to do it. So who knows if it'll happen again. And I know we did look at this clip yesterday from Shotzi's POV, but it looks even better from the first person view of Drazah. Nasty little 1v4 last night, or a couple of days ago now. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on a like button, tell us YouTube gods, that's a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
Yo, Arcitys in the chat.
Arcitys?
Yeah.
We love Arcitys. Big Arcitys fan here. Maybe he'll quit his scrim to come play with us. Imagine the vibes.
Yo, Alec, FaZe Clan followed me on Twitter, by the way. I think you're getting dropped.
Saw them mid. Back left.
Let's go, Jerry.
What can you do with that comp?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Because there's a guy R1.
Oh, Caesar's doing nothing.